So lately I've been wanting to document some of my projects, but they're all pretty complex letterpress or bookbinding jobs. So I'm going to start with something simple here. This is how I make my DIY pocket sketchbooks. So sketchbooks come in all shapes and sizes, and they're awesome for all sorts of different things. You know, you can catalog stuff with them, like this was from some skate parks in the Northwest. You could do it by the month. Here's a few from last year. But out of all the sketchbooks, my favorite are these. These little pocket-sized ones. They're about the size of a passport, and I fill them out with pages of like regular printer paper. I hand stitch the binding using wax thread. It's got a pretty cool look, and they're small enough to put in your pocket. I mean, like I said, it's the size of a passport. It's like 3.5 inches by 5 inches. So really good for somebody that's on the go. So how do I make these rad little sketchbooks? Well, start out with the cover. You can use chipboard or beer box material or soda box material. Those work good. I sometimes use old like off prints. Today I'm going to use this print of Ziggy the Great Dane. And a couple of years back, I printed all of these on the big press here. You don't have to do it, but it's a nice touch, right? So I've got my cover picked out. What's next? Paper. So like I said, I just use regular printer paper. This is some off-white stuff. But what's really cool is you can kind of add in different color paper if you want, like maybe a single sheet of yellow or add in some vellum. I don't know, figure it out. But I basically do them 48 pages. It's 12 sheets folded in half, and it works out really good. I like the size. So now that you have that ready to go, you need your tools. You're going to need a folding bone, pencil, you'll need a ruler. And then I've got some wax thread here. I've got purple and black. I also have a pretty cool red wax thread, but it's a bit thicker, so I think I'll save it for something else. If you don't have wax thread, you can use really any type of thread. Just run it through beeswax. You can buy a block at your local art store, and it's pretty cheap, and it works really well. Like I said, you can get creative with it. So the other thing that you're going to need is needles to run the thread through it, and you'll need a bookbinding owl for punching the holes. So now that you have your cover and your signature of pages, you're going to want to punch the holes using your bookbinding owl. So when you punch the holes, you're going to want to have a backer. I used a stack of corrugated cardboard like this. You're going to want to assemble everything. You can clip it together with some bulldog clips, and then you'll want to mark the holes with a pencil on where you're going to be punching them. And then it's just a matter of punching them. I wouldn't do them too deep, just big enough to get your thread through on the needle. That way it stays tight. And in terms of length for the thread, go just a little over 3 spine lengths. That seems to work pretty well for me. So I always start it with one little knot on the end here, and then you basically just work it through the binding back and forth until you come all the way back around to the center of the sketchbook. And at this point, you're going to actually tie a knot off with the rest of the stitching that's on the outside there. And you have the option here of pulling that back through to the inside of the binding. I haven't been doing that lately. I've just been trimming it off flush here. It works well, especially when you've got the wax on the string. And that's basically your sketchbook. Of course, you can do some finishing touches. I think I'm going to round the corners here with a corner rounder. It always makes it just look a little more finished. You can trim the edge too, so the pages are nice and flush. I always like that look. I like to sit it overnight under a bunch of heavy stuff too. It kind of helps to flatten out the binding. And of course I added a little elastic band here. And that's your sketchbook really. So now all you got to do is go and fill it up with all sorts of cool drawings. And now when you're gearing up to roll out, you can add your cool DIY pocket sketchbook to the list of essentials.